already created some categories. We typically call this as binning, that is based on some threshold value you convert a numerical variable into a categorical variable, right? So now there are no set rules for the bifurcations, and we have just gone randomly and taken some cutoff values like 75, 55 to partition the data, right? Obviously we have used the previous form of syntax. Now there is another function which we could have used, which is called the within function, which also basically does the same thing, right? So if you want to use that, that is also one way of doing it. So we can say company allocation sign, and we can say within, this is the function. So the syntax is company. So I'm going to access this company, comma, and you have to use the curly braces now, because here is where you are actually, okay, this is the problem. So you'll have to write this in the code window rather than doing it over here. Let me have a look at company, whether there is something which has happened and we need to rectify. Okay, so everything is intact. So let's do this in the code window, because if you just press and enter, it's just skipping the code. So you'll have to do that in the code window over here. I'm saying company allocation sign within, that's the syntax, cmpny, that's the object name, comma, braces, and now you're going to write your code over here. So age cat, let's say this is new because we have already created one using the previous form, and I'm saying NA over here, age cat new, and in box bracket I'm saying if age is greater than 75, right, that's the condition. Then I'm saying put a value over there as elder, right. Next line, I'm saying if age cat underscore new box bracket and age is greater than equal to 55, and just going to do this extra sign over here, and another condition that age is less than or equal to 75, complete the box bracket. Then we are saying that we are going to mark this as middle aged, right, age category new box bracket, age is less than 55, then we are going to finally mark this as young, right. So that's the whole syntax, and I'm just going to select and run it one go, and let's have a look at the data now. I'm not saving this code. I'm saying company, right. So basically it has done the same thing as what we had done with age cat, but just a different way of running with the code, more organized and doing all of the things in one go. In the previous case we had done it in a stepwise way. So first we did age category, allocated NA to everybody, then wherever the condition was meeting for age greater than 75, we overwrote over there that it is elder. Apart from that, greater than equal to and less than 75, we mentioned it as middle age, so it was recursively done. Whereas in this case you're doing all of them in one go, so from a code perspective it is more efficient way of writing your code. Okay, I'm just going to clean up this and move ahead so that we can move in the session. So now we are going to do a rename option. So there is a reshape package which incidentally helps you to rename some of the names in your data frame, right. So you can do this directly by overwriting the names also, which we have seen previously, but a different way is to use the reshape package wherein you have the rename function. So obviously we'll have to install this package, so let me just check whether we have this installed. so it's not there, so you'll have to install this package. So I'm saying install dot packages reshape. Okay, so you have to first install this package and then you will load this package, so this should take some time. So a couple of dependency packages, the plyr. Okay, it will do a sum md5 sum check first to authenticate that this has been properly done. So for our cpp package done, plyr reshape, right? So everything is in place. Now we will just load this package. So it's ready for use, and now we will go ahead and use the rename function, which is part of the reshape package. So the data frame is the first thing you're going to pass over here, so that incidentally is the company, right? So what I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to create company, but to be on the safer side, say it is company 1, right? If we mess up also, we'll have the original data frame, and we say rename and in the bracket we say the first thing as the object name itself, that is company. So you're going to rename company and save it in company 1 instead of company, just in case if we do some overwriting, some mess, it doesn't wipe out the data. And then we are saying C executive, that's one of the columns in our data, and we are going to change that name to executive ID, right? And we are going to change something else. So we are going to change date is equal to test date, right? And now if you have a look at the data, so executive is now renamed to executive ID and test is renamed to test date, right? Now incidentally we could have just renamed this by using the concatenate function. So you have call names, give the name of the object and allocate this actual name you want over there, but it doesn't let you access with the name itself. It lets you access the column name with the reference index, that is 1 2 3. This incidentally makes it more sensible. You can directly access any column, right? So let's move ahead and see some more application. Now incidentally, if you are interested in directly accessing the names, you can use something called as fix, right? And you can pass the object name. Doing it on company 1 instead of doing it on company. You can say company also. So when you do this, you directly land on this window, right? So you can basically go and click over here and type over here as executive ID. You can also specify the data type as numeric or character and then say close and just come out of this, and then you can have a look at company. So it has been renamed to company from executive to executive ID, right? So you can use this option also. Okay, now you can use some other ways of doing the same thing, right? I was saying like you can use the names, call names, these options also, right? So if you're trying to do this on a vector, the names function will be used. If you're trying to do it on a data frame, call names would be used. So let's try to do this change of names on maybe something like company again. So I'm going to use names company, right? So it will give me a list of all the names available, right? And then I can do a renaming. So I can say rename, right? Or let me just say names, and the object is company, right? And in this I'm saying that I specifically want to edit the second entry, the second column, and I want to change that to maybe test date, right? So go now in company and have a look at the data. So this is how it will be changing. So different ways of doing the same thing. Now one more way is like you can say names, give the reference as the object itself, so that is company, right? And then outside this you can give it in a sequence that I want from 6 to number 10 as something like this, paste. So I'm just using test, let me make it capital, and I'm saying 1 to 5 sequence, and I'm saying separator is equal to null. That means there shouldn't be any separator, right? So I'm basically saying that change the name of column 6 to 10 by using a paste function. In that I'm saying the pre part should be test, the common notion should be test, and the end should be 1 to 5, right? Test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5. And if I say separator is equal to underscore, so if you do this, so and have a look at company, now it will be test 1 to test 5. That's how we have done it. If you mention this separator as an underscore, right, so you can do that also. And then if you do company, so this will come as underscore 1, underscore 2, underscore 3. So it depends on you how you want to do it, right? One more way of doing the same thing is by accessing names of company and give the reference as again 6 to 10, and instead of accessing it like this, I can say directly that it should be test 1. This is the hard way. Test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5. This is also one way of doing the same thing, right? So you can do this also, right? But incidentally I have typed it in small case, so I've just used the sentence case. T is capital, E is T is small. So I'm just going to bring the previous code and just quickly run through this, and company now is in the form in which I want. Okay, so let's move ahead from here and see what else we can do. Now when you are trying to reshape the data, that means a data frame is there in a particular shape, you might want to just change the shape of the data. This is called as tidying up the data. So that is what we'll be doing next, right, to understand how to change the shape of the data. So obviously we are going to use the reshape package which we have already installed, and in this two specific operators, one called the melt and one called the cast, is going to be very handy for us. Now the name itself suggests that melt is basically saying that, just try to relate it with a metaphor, like if you are a goldsmith or if you are an ironsmith, right? So what do? If you want to create something, you basically have some small pieces of gold or metal, you first melt it, and then you have a cast, right? So you pour it into a frame in which it takes a specific shape, right? So basically in data also you have to first melt it when you look at it from a data frame perspective. So just cleaning up everything. So first you're going to say new data. Okay, I'm going to just allocate it somewhere. So I'm just melting my data first by using the reshape package, and in this I'm saying company, that is my data. ID is from which column I want to do it, so I'm saying from column, say, now you can specify this with directly with 1 to 5 or 10 references also, but in this case I'm saying executive, this is one object, or I can say one column. Then the second one mentioning as date, and then country, then I have gender, and then I have age, right? And then I'm going to just parse it with these. Add the remaining portion. So I have mentioned all the columns. Now we say na.rm is equal to true. Okay, so that specifically means that don't remove an na is true, right? So you are trying to remove and not applicable, and then it's going to enter. It says that okay, we have changed few of the column names, so it's not found over here. So let's check what are the names in company first. Okay, and then we'll just edit this. So executive ID, okay, this has become executive ID because we have changed the column names, and this has become test date. So I have to mention that as it test date. Country remains as it is, gender is as it is, age is as it is, and then we're going to say and enter. So now it should be fine. Now you can have a look at new data. Okay, so this is the conversion from a 5 set record. It has got converted into so many records, right? So you can now